Undermining paradoxical subterfuge. Work your way in circles. You get on the carousel, you go up and down and around and around. Right back where you started. Catch 22. This statement is false. So I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick, folks.
We're old friends dissecting one topic at a time. People, technology, media, we've got it all covered.
Each discussion here is a deep dive into our unique perspective. The taboo, forbidden subjects, they're all on the chopping block, baby. We don't pander to popular opinion. We might even get a little bit dirty.
No pander. Warning. This podcast may contain mature language and sexual content and is for infotainment purposes only.
So join us. Have a good time.
Open up your ear holes, because we're going to fondle your follicles.
Ooh, baby.
Resonance, baby. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I feel it in the air tonight.
I am feeling it, and I am Dan.
I'm Nick, folks.
We are special. Not really.
We are special. We also would like to know that quote you had from the beginning with the carousel up and down.
Yeah.
What is that a reference to?
Happy Gilmore. Kevin Nealon.
Yep, Kevin Nealon. And where did you use that quote?
I don't know. I like that quote.
Was it your profile in AIM?
Is it still?
No,
It could still be.
Well, it could be, but was it? Was it one of
I think
your
it
go-tos,
was,
I guess?
maybe.
It feels like it was.
Feels like it. Yeah.
Everyone at home probably doesn't even know what that is. It's like, in a way, that was Facebook before Facebook, right?
Yes.
Your profile? It was just like your page.
Text.
And you put text in there. And you could HTML to change the colors and add little pictures, but it was mostly just song quotes.
Your away message. That was crucial.
Yeah, your away message.
Show your personality when people couldn't find you.
Yep. Anyway, that was yours. That was pretty interesting that you chose that.
Yeah.
Keep coming back to it.
Wow. So
Full
I
circle.
think you have this book from...
Is that weird?
Were we in the same class for this one?
I think I had it with HWIC. Did I? No.
I think it was junior year? My sophomore year? High school?
One of the two.
Oh, form equals
Man, I wish I
content.
knew.
Took notes. Oh,
That sounds like weird. Demolish.
Could have been.
We can say his name at this point. I don't think
Huh.
Was it Molish?
And
Probably?
people who met him were always impressed by how unimpressive he was.
Yeah, I love those things. Those are some of the best lines in anything. It's actually my favorite book.
Oh.
That's why when we did this episode, I was like, "Oh, awesome! I kind of want to talk about the book for a few minutes." And
I wish I could write like this. I don't think I know enough words to write like this.
Because he's so opposite. It's like he literally builds up a sentence or a paragraph with like 6 sentences that are like, if he ever went to here, if he ever did this, and he would never do this. And the next sentence is, I'll have one of those. Like everything he just built up was like cut real quick with a knife. Like really clever, sardonic humor.
Yeah.
And
Catch 22.
Yeah.
Joseph Heller.
22, Joseph Heller. Oh, Jesus. I guess people who were listening didn't know what the hell we were holding. It's like iconic. I love that. Even the color of that book.
Does it make sense to you?
Excerpt. Yeah, I've read it like 6 times.
No, I mean like the cover, the red.
Oh, no. I don't know. Well,
he's supposed to be just looking at the airplane, right? That's supposed to be the scene where he gets cut in half, maybe.
Bloody truncated hips. I've never seen that sentence used anywhere else. Kid Sampson, I believe. But that doesn't look like a Kid Sampson, but I don't think it matters. I think it's just a generic soldier.
Yeah.
Goofing off, acting crazy or something. Woo! Joseph Heller wrote this about the war and how crazy it was and how everyone who was in wanted out and they couldn't get out. Here, I'll just read the excerpt from the book that's like the Catch 22.
Sure.
There was only one catch, and that was Catch 22, which specified that a concern for one's own safety in the face of dangers that were real and immediate was the process of a rational mind. Orr was crazy, and he could be grounded. That means he no longer had to fly missions. All he had to do was ask, and as soon as he did, he would no longer be crazy, and he would have to fly more missions. So Orr would be crazy and would have to fly more missions. But if he wasn't crazy, he had to fly more missions and sane if he didn't. But if he was sane, he had to fly them. If he flew them, he was crazy and didn't have to. But if he didn't want to, he was sane and had to.
Yes. It's one of those
Which
loops.
is a crazy sentence. Mm-hmm.
So this is one of like the bureaucratic catch-22s. Is that it's rules that are put in place to make sure that people don't leave. They do what they're supposed to do when they're stuck because there's no way out.
Correct. They call this one the trap catch-22.
Paradox.
It's mutually conflicting conditions that keep a person trapped. The only way out is denied by a stipulation or situation inherent in the problem. So like you're already fed into it, and like the feedback loop starts before you can get to the answer. Yeah. Or after you get to the answer. Like you're like the most famous one I find is that you can't get a job unless you have experience.
Yep.
And you can't get experience unless you have a job.
Yes.
It's
indeed.
like lots of employers do that one. That one's a biggie. That's one of the bigger catch-22s actually plaguing the world right now.
And a lot of people are afraid of failure, but that's how you learn.
It is.
The only way to learn is through failing every which way.
Yeah, get better at failing. Now, some of them you kind of move through, like that one you just mentioned. Like if you fail enough, you kind of learn, hopefully. Yeah. And move beyond it.
But if you're too afraid to fail, then you never get to the experience. You never get through it.
The only way to avoid failure is to fail.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're going with that. So what do we want to talk about today? I don't even know.
I thought it was interesting when I went to write down like catch-22s. Like I could not think of them like as a logical thing. Like you couldn't just write them out. You had to think of a premise and then like figure out how the premise is broken.
Yeah.
So what is it like? Schrodinger's cat is like they're in a box or something, but you can't see it unless you open the box. But they disappear.
There's a chance the particle, when it interacts with the other particle, leaves a poisonous gas behind. But there's no way to know for sure.
By observing
once you open the box, you activate the particle, and the gas is released, poisoning the animal and killing whatever's in there. So the idea is, while the box is still closed and no one can look inside and observe anything in there, is the cat alive or dead? Because once you open it and to look, it's dead.
Yeah. 100%.
So we don't know what killed it. So while the box is still closed, is it alive? Is it dead? There's no way to know. It's an observable paradox. You can't know the answer without observing the answer. And once you observe the answer, you've negated the whole thing. Interesting.
Yeah.
We're talking about something you can't touch, really, right?
Is there a physical catch-22 that is like three-dimensional?
There is an interesting one. No, it's what I'm going to say is sort of like it.
MC Escher?
No, who's that?
The Escher paintings, like the ones with the steps that all wrap around.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Or the three-dimensional, like the hand drawing itself.
I guess so. Yeah. That is a catch-22 that's physically embodied.
Yeah. Oh, just blowing your mind there. You're like,
well, it's weird because I was trying to think of another one. I don't know that now. I guess there has to be another one.
There's a waterfall one where it's like the three dimensions make it look like it's moving upwards, but when it pours,
is that a drawing or there's an actual?
Drawing. I think that's Escher again.
Yeah, it probably is. It
MC
seems like
Escher
he just does this over and over.
Yeah, that's all he does.
Man, MC Escher. That's all he does.
I wonder what. I never saw a picture of him in real life.
Check him out. Tell me if he's attractive. Tell me if he's not attractive. I'll tell you I don't judge.
Moritz Cornelius Escher.
My mans.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard the show. He's a big fan of the podcast. He's always writing us letters.
Yeah, he's got all those like weird like perspective-y things.
Yeah. If he wrote a letter to us, it would be like, Dear so-and-so, so-and-so, the Unmanners. And then it would end, and it would be like the very same sentences that were in the beginning of it, and we'd be like, wait a minute, dear so-and-so, so-and-so.
The whole thing's a parallelogram?
Yeah. It just keeps going and going.
That'd
turn over. At the bottom it says turn over, and you do it and read it all. At the bottom it says turn over.
Yes.
That would be him. Catch-22s.
You got one?
I do. What about like this might not count, but it kind of does. It's harder for heavy people to work out. Like it's really hard. They run out of breath. It's harder for them to like do all the things. Like it physically feels terrible. Really, really in shape people, like jacked people, they like it's easy for them to do. Like
Easy to move around.
easy to move around. It's easy to actually do the push-ups or these. It's way easier for someone who's super in shape to push their limit physically and keep
like do
enduring
pull-ups and
themselves.
push-ups.
Exactly, because they're already in shape. Their body can already do it, and they will just get more in shape. It's like this weird feedback loop where the more in shape you are, the more it is easier to be in shape. Whereas, like, if you're like 200 pounds overweight and like you go for a run, forget it, dude. You're gonna hurt your knees. You're gonna barely go a quarter mile. You're gonna like, I don't know. I just feel like it's easier to work out and get in shape when you're in shape.
100%. Those people that are stuck to their beds, like I guess.
How the hell can they? I don't really know.
Calorie deficit because they can't eat.
Bedridden, yes, but even then, you could put your organs in risk and crap.
Ooh. That's a heavy one.
Dark.
A literal.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Literally heavy one.
Literal heavy one. But I gotta work on my physical positioning. But,
perfect. Good, right? That was perfect.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
He has a drum set behind him. If anyone is listening to the podcast,
there's probably like weeks where it is in the exact same position it always is, and then there's some where it's moved a little bit. You know, got some work on it. Not a lot. But. It's like another catch-22.
I like the one, there's one on Reddit about the tree. Like the city told him to cut down his tree or he'd be fined. Oh, yes. And there's a law that stipulates you can't cut down that kind of tree.
Break it down, ironically. So one was a city ordinance and one was a township ordinance?
Yeah.
Or something like that?
So it was different governments. They were telling him to A, cut down the tree, and B, don't cut down the tree. Because you're going to get fined either way. Because it was a special kind of tree.
If you don't cut this tree down, it's blocking a pathway here, it's overgrowing, you have to cut it or we'll fine you. And they said you cannot cut that kind of tree, it's a rare tree. If you cut it, we will fine you. And then I guess he wrote them both letters, and how did it go? Like
somebody expounded on it and said like he talked to somebody in the government and they told him not to do it. Then he talked to somebody in the other government and said he had to do it. And then eventually it gets cut down anyway because the government people say, "Oh, we're cutting this down."
We're going in there and cutting it.
They charge him the cost of cutting it down on top of the fine that he gets from the city, and then he has to
from cutting it down,
plead his case. Township. But then it's the government, so you can't find the people that told you these things to begin with. So he's stuck with all the fines.
Yeah. That's exactly what would happen.
And he loses the tree and the cost of the tree.
God damn.
That's exactly how it would go down.
That is how it would go down. Ugh.
Oh. Some of these are great though, because I think there's a level of there's definitely pity there. Like if you're telling a story about that person, there's pity, but there's empathy too. You know how it feels to like grind yourself against this wheel that just doesn't make any sense. And in the end, it's like, well, we got to do it anyway.
Back where you started, like you mentioned.
The wheel, the great wheel.
Oof. It's a little funny, I guess. Most of these catch-22s are what you mentioned. Two things. They're funny and sad, or happy and pitiful. Like they're a little bit of both. There's comedy to it.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know if that's unique to us, because it's like even the really dark humor makes us laugh. So it...
Yeah, there is. We're going to touch on something by the end of the episode when our drinks are flowing, when we're at our whatever. Let me find it. Where did I put it? Oh, that's right. So I've mentioned this before. Fish, the group Fish, the jam band.
PH.
Mm-hmm. They have a song called Character Zero, and it's the first words in the song are some of my favorite lyrics because I find them really funny. It's, I was taught a month ago to bide my time and take it slow. But then I learned just yesterday to rush and never waste the day. Now I'm convinced, the whole day long that all I learn is ever wrong and things that are true that I forget, but no one taught that to me yet. And more important, the first line, that people are like, listen, you're young. Take your time. Smell the roses.
Yeah.
Experience life. But on the same time, they're like, now's the time to work your hardest. Grind the stone. Push through. You're going to really appreciate this in 20 years. Grab the day. Seize. Don't wait around. And it's like, they're at odds. You can't do both.
Yes.
Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, which one do I do?
I think we all feel
and I think
this.
that's true in life. right?
Especially like
100%.
when you start college, if you start college,
Mm-hmm.
and then your 20s.
If you start college.
Yeah. And then you're trying to like build towards like a retirement, but like the enjoyment of retirement might not be there if you don't enjoy your life now, so you don't know what to do if you retire early, and then you're stuck looking back at what you wasted. So it's like there's a sarcasm in the way that we're told to go ahead and do this thing that we don't understand.
To live our lives.
Yes.
But think of this. If you go way too hard one way or the other, you're kind of screwed. Like if you party and don't plan for your future at all, like you're kind of screwed.
Then you won't have a
20
future.
years, like,
You'll be stuck doing the same stuff you hate.
Yeah, like you could be like, oh wow, I had a great 20s, but now I'm miserable for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Versus the other way, let's say you
might
grinded through 20 and 30, and now you're 40 and 50, and you're like, I'm friggin' set, baby. And you sit back and you're like, let's get all my boys over here. And you're like, I don't have any friends. And then you're like, well, let's remember the good times. And you're like, oh, shit.
Good times.
Yeah, damn it.
Regret.
Regret. So, I mean, a catch-22 is just something where neither answer is correct, I guess.
Yeah, Yes. I will agree. It's weird because it does touch on like so many different aspects that I'm surprised that it was coined not too long ago. Like there was paradoxes, but the catch-22 really like embodies something about paradoxes that is just like the ridiculous piece of nature, human nature.
Where did the term come from?
It came from the book. Catch-22 is the first origin of it.
Wait, really?
Which is what, 1960s?
So friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be 60s. What's the time on this bad boy? Wait, so he started Catch-22, the expression?
He literally did.
That's friggin' awesome. I didn't know that. And this is my favorite book, so now I double favorite it.
Double
61,
favorite.
55.
61. 1961.
It's weird. I have a 1955 copyright.
That's bizarre.
Weird.
Originally published.
Wait, how? It's not even a...
He began writing it in 1953. You have a pre-release version?
No.
Did you pay extra for that one?
Well, I'm
in
telling you,
2000 something?
Copyright 1955. Maybe that's when he first wrote it.
Maybe he realized he had something good, and then he was like, I better just copyright this thing.
Stamp this bad boy before I get it. The it's not even a catch-22, but I did want to touch on what Caleb Major named his child.
What was the name of his child?
Major.
Major.
And what rank did he achieve in the army? Ah, beautiful.
Major.
Of course. Could you not? Like at that point, you're setting him up for success. You're like, he's not really qualified, anything, but he's gonna get it.
He's gonna get it.
Stamp, approved. Everyone's gonna approve that and just shoot it on through.
So I think I have like
catch-22.
Here's a practical catch-22 with money, like payday loans. Because you don't have money, but you need money, but they'll charge you money on the money that you need. So you don't have enough money to get it through to next week.
Yeah, you're getting
a vicious cycle.
Screwed.
Yeah, by predators.
Predators.
Payday loans. So there's practical ones.
I'd expound on it, but we've expounded on that particular issue on an episode of Predators. If you want to check it out, folks, link is here or somewhere. I don't know.
We haven't released any of that yet, but it will come eventually.
So will this episode.
What about going on vacation? You see all those people with the selfie sticks?
Mm-hmm.
Think they're really enjoying their vacation when all they're doing is taking pictures of things.
So no time to enjoy your life when you're recording your enjoyment or setting up enjoyment pictures and setting up posts and everything. I know people like that. I think you sort of can, but you're not fully there.
You're not fully there. Yeah,
you can't claim to be fully in a moment.
It's not like you're taking in all the senses. You're constantly thinking about how you can do a visual element to it
or something.
Yeah.
I guess I almost want to say anyone with a smartphone that's living.
Because they're ignoring life?
From time to time. Every time.
Black Mirror. It's like you're...
Oh, I didn't...
there isn't an episode. You haven't seen it yet?
No, none of them. I'm afraid to a little bit because I think it would touch me like mentally and emotionally, and I'd be like, oh, that's me. God, that's my fear. Like, I'm really like, I'm only afraid of certain things. Like horror doesn't really get me, but like that kind of horror, I feel like would scare me a little bit. And I hear they really go off some deep ends. Like they do some deep cuts there, right?
Yeah, they do. There's some pretty good ones.
Yeah, I can tell.
I don't know why you're waiting.
Because I know I'm going to be afraid of it, but I need the right environment to see it.
Is that a catch-22 in itself? Is it?
Maybe.
You want to see it so badly that you need it to be perfect when you do see it, but you can't find perfection, so you can't see it.
Yeah. I don't want to watch it at like 11 at night when I'm like I'm ready to go to bed and I just flick it on and I'm like, whatever, I'm going to half watch this because that's not giving it justice. Even though I've never seen it, I don't know that it's good. I know that it's good though, and I want to give it full detail and attention. And that situation may never arise. That is interesting. That is a catch-22. What about the do I look fat in this? Is that a catch-22?
What's your answer? You can't say no.
No. Yes. Wait. This isn't a catch-22, but it's my favorite piece of writing ever. It's Mike. It's from Arrested Development. Michael is talking to his sister, Portia.
Yeah.
Whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's talking to his sister in the show, and she's like, I know you're not really great about your son, George Michael, dating this Anne. And it's like they call her bland and they make fun of her and everything. And he's like, just every time you push him away, you're going to drive him right to her. So every time you say no, you're driving him right to her. And he goes, hey, Dad, can you drive me to Anne? He's like, yes. And it's the most ironic thing because if you say no, you're driving him right to her. And he's like, can you drive me to Anne's? And he's like, yes. And that's so good. It's so good because no matter what he says, he's driving her to her.
Oh, the little like
the music. I got where you're going with that.
That's like a Rube Goldberg machine, like the way they had like. It's like an excerpt. That show.
That's a well written show with a lot of. It's a catch-22-esque show.
It is. It's very comical because people get him in situations where he just can't do anything right.
Yeah. No matter what he does, he's screwed. So he just goes. And just gives an answer, and it's like the wrong answer, but no matter what, it was going to be wrong. But it's funny.
I feel like there's got to be more lyrical catch-22s that.
Oh my God, there's probably a million, but they're probably all by like guys like Bruce Springsteen or whatever. And I was driving down the road, but I was walking with my toes. And you're like, oh Jesus Christ, Bruce, what are you talking about? I'm screaming at the mic. Down E Street, baby. I'm not a big Bruce fan. You have to see him live. He's so good live. I don't want to see him live, dead, or recorded. It's fine.
He's still alive?
He still sells out. He goes to the place over in Jersey all the time.
Are you going to say the park next to my house?
Me throwing beer balls at Bruce.
Yeah.
Shut up, asshole! I'm coming down the drive and the tires were slashed. It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry, moving on past my Bruce hate. I'm surprised it took like 130 episodes for me to get out how much I hate Bruce Springsteen. It's weird how this does this to you, you know? You never know what you're going to get, folks. You never know.
Oh, this is a song.
Ooh, I got a good catch-22.
Get it. Hit it.
This is in catch-22, but it's a real good one. This is one I tell people about all the time. Dunbar, Sirens' friend from the medical ward. Well,
yes.
His friend in general.
Mm-hmm.
So this is early on in the book. He my G-Sync display connected. Thank God. Sorry. He's stall for a second while you look at your thing. I want to actually find the quote.
So this one's a song by Green Day. Nice Guys Finished Last.
Oh, interesting. Go ahead.
But you try to be as nice as possible, but people don't respect that. So it's like your best intentions get the best of you, because you can't pretend to be something. It's a catch-22 when you're trying to just impress them, and the attempt to impress them does not impress them. Nice guys finish last.
Nice guys finish last. Okay. So Dunbar gets into doing things he hates. This is super interesting. This is my favorite thing. He gets into skeet shooting because he hates every second of skeet shooting. It's terrible. He thinks 5 minutes skeet shooting, the time passes so slow, it's like a single hour. And everyone says, well, why the hell would you do it? If you really hate it, it draws your teeth. It makes every second feel like an hour. He says, who cares? I want to live longer. And they're like, what? And he says, think about it. If you add up all that time being bored, being angry, being terrible, having an awful life, it goes by longer. Because when you enjoy life, the years go by so fast. And to quote, unquote, you're old now. And Clevenger or whatever says, I'm not old. What are you talking about? He says, you're old. You're inches away from death every time you go on a mission. How much older can you be at your age? A half a minute before that, you were stepping into high school, and an unhooked brassiere was as close as you ever hoped to get to paradise. Only a fifth of a second before that, you were a small kid with a 10-week summer vacation that lasted 100,000 years and still ended too soon. Zip. They go rocketing by so fast. How the hell else are you ever going to slow time down? Dunbar was almost angry when he finished. Maybe you're right.
Time flies.
Maybe a long life. Well, all right. Maybe a long life does have to be filled with many unpleasant conditions, if it seems so long. But in that event, who wants one? I do. Dunbar told him. Why? Clevenger asked. What else is there?
That's just all meaning of life right there.
It kind of is, right?
It's like the catch-22 is you're supposed to find out like the meaning of life when you die, but you can't do anything about it because you're dead.
Because you're dead. What if it was to have an awful life? Hate every second of it. It would last so long, I guess. But then what's the point of life? Sort of. But as Dunbar puts it, what's the point of life? Why would you want to do that? What else is there? What are my alternatives? You don't get to pick between 7 different things. It's either life or no life.
Like pain versus pleasure. Like if you don't have the pain, you don't have the pleasure.
I guess.
Work really hard to get to something, and because of the effort, it makes it good.
I guess, but then that good is going to go by pretty quick.
Yeah.
In fact, you'll remember the pain more, right? Hasn't this been documented scientifically?
And I think it has, actually. People are averse to pain more so than they are.
Not even just pain. Your memories are built on
negative
hardships or negative
feedback.
Yeah, like going to school in grade school isn't a fun thing. It's actually the downside of your day. So is going to high school. Like when you go to school, that's like your wah wah. That's literally the time of the day you hate the most. But looking back, it's the only time I remember. I mean, I remember parties and stuff.
The feeling of the time spent. You can feel it.
It's based on going to school. It's based on hating this or that. It's based on being in mutual hate with my comrades.
I like when
Russian school.
When you hit what my notes are, this line is read directly. Risk aversion, reward, work, procrastination. And make that noise again.
This was covered in spermicidal condom. You better believe I would have.
Oh, man. I think I had sweet and sour. That's pain and pleasure.
Is that a catch-22?
I think so. When you do it in terms of Vanilla Sky.
So,
or
Dunbar.
Or Dunbar, yeah. And he needs the negatives.
In fact, the more negatives, the more he'll enjoy than any positives.
So I don't know if we're going to go into... I feel like this is the final phase, and then we go off in our own direction.
Please do.
Technology-wise? So, like, the industrial age was supposed to be the kickstart to either our end or getting over...
We've done this in episodes. we're talking about that's like kind of the final phase of a civilization. So they've done studies, scientists, where
Yep.
kicking off your revolution will maximize your abilities, resources, potential, and then from there you run into a problem, whether it's shaky foundation or not enough resources, or you collapse, or something happens in society where it goes, well,
Yep.
correct?
So yeah, we're in an age where we're using up all our resources, and our resources are needed to get into the next stage where we don't need them. So we're quickly running towards the end. It's just, will the end be a collapse or
will we make it before we hit the wall?
yeah, asymptote?
This is so weird.
Why?
Well, if I were to guess, it's going to be an asymptote, and I don't know why, other than necessity.
Because we're gonna
Necessity shapes our reality.
Yeah, because no one cares about it until it's
forced
there.
Oh yeah, it's like we have about 8 weeks left of oxygen. Everyone's like, let's get to work. Or like, you know what I mean? Water's going to run out in 19 days, and like the world just works together and maybe fixes the problem.
I could just see somebody with a broadsword just like lopping heads off and be like, "That's not what we were thinking," and then everyone else just devolves into that.
Cutting off heads
zombie,
until there's
yeah.
like 8 people left. Then there'd be enough water for years.
Long time. But we kicked off a revolution, industrial revolution, that is causing us to probably maybe hit the end of our civilization. It's
What are you
like
basing the kicked off a revolution? Are you still talking
just
about
like
industrial?
eating up like gasoline, like pumping for oil.
Okay, that makes
Eventually
sense.
run out of oil, and then we build a civilization on having oil. If we don't have oil, then like what do? You don't have gas. You have to walk to work. Good luck, Nick.
Holy crap. Can you imagine?
How do you even get?
Good luck to anyone.
How do you get like science done? Like if I want to do science, how do you?
Well, how about a lot of our businesses in the United States right now are based on delivery guys. They're literally the most important people in the
Truck
world.
drivers.
Delivery guys.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you think about it, everything we do right now based on Amazon or everything is, we're super dependent on delivery guys.
Yeah.
Which is why they're working on the automatic delivery vehicle that would be able to do it without paying those guys, or the trucks or whatever.
Yeah.
But
plus food, delivering food to you, since you can't grow your own food.
yeah, they're doing right. Everything we get is kind of delivered to us.
Yeah.
Via these vehicles. If we didn't have them, probably the collapse.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine it. Like I can't.
We definitely go hungry. Like the food that we have now is like all from like South America.
Well, forget that. Let's say we'd find a way to stay alive with food and water and necessities.
Avocados, yeah.
Say goodbye to all your clothes, everything that sells on Amazon, right?
Do you ever? Oh, so damn it.
Okay.
This is one of the things that irked me that we missed when we had an episode about water. Is like the amount of water it takes to feed yourself is a certain amount, and that's the amount that people think about. But
I don't think about that.
Yeah, the water you drink, and then the water you eat through the food, which needed water to grow, but also
etc.
Like the amount of water it takes to grow cotton, the clothes you wear is like it's a magnitude larger than the food that you eat.
Really?
Yes, like the amount of cotton needed to like make this shirt.
I've gotten in better shape over the years. I wear spandex outside of the episode. Is there as much water involved in spandex?
That might be an oil-based product.
Oh, well, either way, I'm screwed. Petroleum,
yep.
As it were.
Mm-hmm. Industrial. So that's part of the industrial age. It's a catch-22. You're kicking off technology to hopefully get out of using technology.
Right. But you might not be able to.
Yeah. And I've been watching a lot of Westworld lately.
I never saw it.
You need to. The first season especially.
First season's probably the best.
Yeah, the second one goes awry. I think it doesn't.
It's weird.
Not true to itself.
My greatest ability is context. I can tell just from people's comments and whose comments they are and how they're worded, and the amount of outrage versus the amount of fake outrage versus the amount of real outrage versus the amount of real people recording it. I think I'm like a supercomputer that gets it all together, and I just know what shows are really good, what seasons are really good.
Yeah.
Like, I know where Breaking Bad was good. Oh, yeah, I did watch Breaking Bad. I know where...
fifth season?
Yeah, fourth and
where
fifth
he
season.
tightens the
Something
tie?
happened. Yeah, something happened there. But, like, even a show I've never watched, like The Wire, I'm like, season 3 was the weird one. Or, like, I know via context which seasons and episodes of things are legitimate. I don't know.
The Wire is funny you bring that up because that is the perfect anti-bureaucratic show ever. Have you seen it?
I've seen 2 episodes.
Every season talks about how the government fails the city.
F's it up, right? Yeah. They always screw it up.
I think one was like them trying to take down drugs, but they like created a new drug lord. Another one was like the schools, how the schools were ruined. Mm-hmm. And another one was like how the politicians were corrupt. And then at the end of each season, they realized that no matter what they do, the schools are still shitty. They're still drug lords. Right. The politicians are even more corrupt than they ever were. And they
so the problem is deeper.
Yeah. Even like all these cops, like the cops can't do anything to help the city.
Corrupt as shit, and the ones that aren't corrupt can't do anything because their hands are tied by bureaucratic bullshit.
Precisely. It's catch-22.
I know that about The Wire. That is kind of a good point.
Yeah.
If you look deep enough in any good material, is there a catch-22 in Game of Thrones?
I don't know if fantasy counts as a catch-22.
I think you can find it. Catch-22 is a fantasy. Well, not a fantasy.
You're getting mad. They're getting a little agitated.
I did. I would say that no one could sit on the Game of Thrones. Is that bizarre? Is that weird? The only way the Game of Thrones would end would be if there was no Game of Thrones. It's kind of a catch-22.
There's no throne. It's really irritating. You say Game of Thrones. You can't sit on the Game of Thrones. What about those Game of Thronesies?
The frame of gums.
Those gums of threes. I do have one more.
For it? Okay.
Artificial intelligence?
I feel like artificial intelligence would suck at catch-22s.
I'm not. No. I mean, like, as a people, we're moving towards artificial intelligence, and I think we want it so that we can become lazy.
Sure.
Whatever.
We want it.
Take care of us. But then AI is going to be smarter than us. And it's going to be a battle. There we go. Now you're following me.
And we're already lazy, so we
created our own master.
We've created something we wanted, whether we knew we wanted it or not, and cannot defy it because we created it to help us do what we wanted. And this is technically what we wanted, even though we think we don't want it.
Oh. It just touches on something. Terminator? Time travel?
Okay.
Catch-22s and time travel? We touched on time travel. I don't know.
Did we do a whole episode on time travel?
We did. Yeah. I don't know how much we want to touch on that.
No, because it's not a catch-22. That's a feedback loop error, which could be catch-22, I guess. Right?
Yeah, because you
can't go back and kill your father because then you wouldn't exist to be able to go back in time to kill your father.
Yeah, because you wouldn't exist.
Explain it as succinctly as I could, but it's very more complicated than that. You couldn't go back and have sex with your mother and create yourself. Is that what the...
Unless that's how you're supposed to be created.
But then...
That explains how smart you are.
Dad? Son?
Oh, man. It's just a family of you. You changed genders too to be your mom.
Back in time.
Oh.
I think it could work.
It could. That's where my notes end.
All right, good. I want to go to here because this is a little bit about the fish lyrics, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
What I find is that catch-22s arise from our inability to finalize a decision.
Yes.
To finalize a stance. To make something black or white. There's always
a fork in the road.
Gray. Yeah, there's gray. There's this weird spots in between, and that's what a catch-22 kind of expounds on, if I were to use fancy words. You can't have catch-22s if everything were black and white. If this was correct and this was incorrect. If this was fact and this was false. Mm-hmm. If this was the way it should be and this is the way it shouldn't be. But because life is not those two things, as we've probably come up to 1 billion times in this friggin' episode. What do we call this? Podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. As we've come to 1 billion times in this podcast, life isn't black and white. It's very gray. There's weird things that make something that's super left political be like, oh shit, I went so far. It's right political. Like there's something about you can't go so far in one direction without going in the other direction.
Flat Earth.
You touched on a circle.
Yeah.
If everything we do, if every moral judgment, if every act we do, if every fact and falsitude is on a circle, at some point you're going to reconnect. And I think that happens in life way more than we give credence to. And I think that's what Catch-22s do. Make a little joke about it.
Mm-hmm.
Make a little ha-ha about the whole fact that you can't just stick your point in the ground and say, hey, this is a fact. Murdering babies is okay. It's like, oh, it's not always okay. And I wasn't getting political there. I was just picking
the most politically charged thing you could.
Politically charged statements ever. But like, how about this? Capitalist tomatoes for Wendy's or something. Like, I don't know. Is that a charged something? You know, they get their tomatoes from like Mexico and they don't pay the wages or something.
Oh, yeah. You talk about this.
You can look it up. I know. We talked about this before, but I'm just trying to pick a subject. It's like, ooh, fast food's okay, but not Wendy's tomatoes. Like you picked Wendy's tomatoes to be the thing. And in doing so, you open the door for other things. So is McDonald's lettuce okay? You know what I mean? Like,
every one of these things are sourced so cheaply.
I have no idea. Yeah, I noticed the buns or sesame seed buns. The buns are fine, but the sesame seeds are imported. It's like, excuse me? They're imported from somewhere illegal. I can't tell you anymore. I already know. Like, you know what I mean? Someone calls you and tells you that the seeds are illegal, but
Catch-22.
There's always going to be a Catch-22. There's always going to be a sticking point. There's always going to be an exception to the rule.
Yeah, that's like putting tariffs on a country, trying to impose human rights to make them pay their employees more, but then losing those jobs.
Yeah.
Make them poorer. Yeah. What can you do in that situation?
The thing you set out to do can be subverted by your own rules. It's sort of a Catch-22, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something unforeseen. A Catch-22 it's the area between what you expect from the joke and what the joke is. The delta.
This is something. I don't know what this is.
A teacher we had
in
religious class, he was insane. He was told by the Pope to stop. Anyway, but I was touching on a valid point. It's the gray area. A Catch-22 is a joke that nothing we do is set in stone. Nothing we decide, nothing we think about, nothing we factually believe is a fact. Nothing can stand on its own. Nothing can be inert. It's always moving. It's always changing. It's always shifting a little bit. And that's the joke, right?
Yeah, you can't know that you're insane.
That's crazy. We didn't even touch on that one. That's a great Catch-22.
Would you know if you were insane?
No, you wouldn't know. You would do a podcast about it. Just broadcast it to the world. You wouldn't know, but I'm not, and I know that.
Do you? Do you now?
Right? Right? Is this a TV show?
Truman Show. We're all watching.
I doubt it. I've seen our numbers. They're down this month.
I can't get away from the. Why would our numbers be down? It's like, what are you doing, Nick?
What am I not doing?
Getting old.
We're all getting older.
Pooping. A lot of pooping.
That's what all getting older is, I guess. It's a lot of pooping.
That's where you wonder where the remote went. You're like, find the remote, find the remote. It's just Nick just like squatting on your TV, just dropping a deuce. Oh, man.
Shit. I'm telling you. You're telling jokes.
Yes.
You're having drinks. Everything's going on around us, but I think I figured out my most important thing. Is that nothing is anything.
Huh. Okay? Brevity of life.
And I mean that.
Importance. Things that go by too fast. Or you have too much of. We didn't touch on like savoring food versus gluttony. Like if you eat so much food that you're used to it, then it loses the importance and loses the taste. The taste might still be there, but it might not be as good, as fulfilling.
Food tastes better the hungrier you are. It's a proven fact. It's weird. I'm telling you, there's something
there's
either not
underlying
or am saying. Yeah, there's something I was really close to saying or almost saying.
You're gonna catch it. You're gonna realize it later and be, God damn it! And you'll be like,
damn it! I wanted to say that, but I think I captured the essence of it. I mean, Catch-22. Let's summarize.
Yeah, Joseph Heller.
Round it up. Joseph Heller, hell of a writer. How does it end? Usarian dodges another knife.
I don't even know how it ends.
Yeah, the woman that tries to make love with him and stab him because he's responsible for someone's death. She pretends to make love to him all the time, and he's always drawn in, and then she always swings at him with a knife, and he always dodges and runs. And I think the last sentence is something like,
and he at least
swung.
Yeah. Usarian jumped, and he at least was hiding just outside the door. The knife came down, missing him by inches, and he took off. That's a good ending.
Hell yeah, especially for 1961, dude. This guy's way ahead of his time.
1961.
Isn't it? Oh, dude. Even here's another Catch-22 to sum it up. Milo, who's in charge of the commissary, and he rises to power. I say it wrong. It's weird. Anyway, he's rising to power. He's like using all these weird things. He's selling eggs in Malta for 5 cents a piece and buying them back for 3 cents a piece, and he's doing all sorts of stuff. But his ships, which he uses to pick up the eggs and the food from all over the place and make money on, are so valuable that he's already in position over his own camp. The enemy gets to talking to him, and the Germans will pay him $8,000 to bomb his own troops. And he says, well, the ships are here, and we have the bombs. If I do this, and then I give our own team $4,000, it's like giving ourselves $4,000 for free. And he does it. He's bombing his own men because A, it's cheaper for the Germans than bombing because his ships are already there. And B, he's like, I won't hurt anyone, but I'm just bombing us. And it's just... and then everyone wins because he's making a profit. Our government's getting money, more money than will cover the damage. Everyone will be fine. And the Germans are happy because someone's bombing the Americans. And it's like, that's not what... Okay.
Missing a key element.
Yeah.
The moral side of the story.
It is. Maybe that's the part I was missing on.
Morality? Religion?
Well, everything in life is a circle. I mean, you can't stand alone and say, is this the moral setting? Because then you got to ask, is this the financial setting? Is this the setting for religion? Is this the family setting? Is this the friendship setting? Like, if you base two facts, like, hey, I'm going to do this, and this is the end result, like... It's on a wheel. You're not just talking about it from a business prospect, an end prospect. You're also talking about it from a friend to friend. What is it on a moral compass? What is it on this compass? What is it on? And you run into so many different factors that you're like, it's not actually what you thought it was.
Yeah, that's like
it can be the opposite.
Women marrying their best friend, but then getting friend zoned. It's like,
weird. I never heard that.
I think that's a rom-com.
It sounds, that does sound like a rom-com. Well, what we talked about tonight is all the Catch-22s, Joseph Heller's Catch-22. We talked about
Experience Life for the Real.
Captain Black. Oh, geez, Captain Cathcart. Good Lord.
Yeah, I wrote down, I got all these.
Did you?
If people are really content to experience life vicariously through other people when they should be living life out themselves.
Something to look up if you're bored and you really like the book?
Mm-hmm. No, I actually don't know what you're talking about.
No, I'm going to tell you. Timeline?
Are you going to tell me?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you in 1 second. I just want to see the easiest way to... so Joseph Heller writing this book, it took a long time, and if you've ever read it, it's
10 years.
Yeah, it's written in weird time. It's not in order. It's not chronological order. It's just all out of sorts and weird. I'm trying to find it. Cheat sheet.
What, are you hinting at something?
Oh, he wrote his own notebook that had a bunch of squares that is actually interesting to look at.
Really?
Hold on. So he could keep everything straight for himself. I can think what that's called. Joseph Heller.
Crib sheet?
No. Maybe. Is that something you would write for a book?
I've always wanted to
Notes
make
for
an
catch
AI
22?
that would do this.
Not Cliff Notes. See, show me Cliff Notes. Handwritten outline for Catch 22. Do handwritten outline for Catch 22. And check this shit out, dude. It's wild. Look at this.
What is this about?
Everyone at home, Google this. Joseph Heller's timeline for Catch 22. Look at this. That's how he kept it all straight. Because it's written in weird time from different perspectives from all over the place. Even this is a goddamn Catch 22.
Huh.
Right? Isn't that wild?
It's gigantic. I would say, to describe it to people that are listening,
it's
probably like 20 by 20.
64? Yeah, it's probably 20 by 20, which would be 400 squares.
Yeah. And some of them, it's like what?
Squares. Each square he's got written notes.
Character and then timeline.
Yeah.
And then not everyone has a story and a timeline. But
of course not. That's wild. That's awesome.
What's the last? Sarian buys.
It's probably what you just read. Dodges the knife and everything. That'll be timeline wise. Unless there's something happens after that we don't even know.
Sarian runs away joyfully
when
he realizes that Or is safe.
Oh.
Or and Or.
Or was his roommate. Yeah. With the nasty eyes. Anyway. To sum it up again.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think everyone gets it.
We keep summing it up, but we keep going on and summing it up forever.
Top book. That's probably one of my favorite books to read, actually.
It is my favorite book. In fact, my favorite scene is when Clevenger is getting sentenced by the courts. You recall this?
What does he do? I forget what he does. What he had done.
That's weird.
What?
It's funny because they have the guy who takes the minutes interjecting every few minutes, Popinjay. And they're like, "Oh no, sir. Are you telling me to move my foot?" "No, sir. Oh no, sir. Then move your foot and keep your stupid mouth shut. Will you speak up, please? I still couldn't hear you." "Yes, sir. I said that I didn't say that you couldn't punish me. Just what the hell are you talking about? I'm answering your question, sir." "What question?" "Just what the hell did you mean, you bastard, when you said we couldn't punish you?" said the corporal, who could take shorthand. "All right," said the colonel. "So what the hell did you mean?" It's like
it's so really circular
because
no one can figure out.
The dude who just was writing down the minutes was reading back the minutes, which is a recording of what he said. But they're responding to what the minutes guy just said because he was the last person to speak. "All right, just what the hell did you mean?" "I didn't say you could punish me, sir." "When?" asked the colonel. "When what, sir?" "Now you're asking me questions again." "I'm sorry, sir. I'm afraid I don't understand your question." "When did you say we couldn't punish you? Don't you understand?" "No, sir. I don't understand." "You've just told us. Now suppose you answer my question." "How can I answer it?" "That's another question you're asking me." It's like, okay. "I'm sorry, sir, but I don't know how to answer it. I never said you couldn't punish me. Now you're telling us lies. I'm asking you to tell us when you didn't say it." Clevenger took a deep breath. "I always didn't say you couldn't punish me, sir." That's better. But it's a bold-faced lie. Like, what? Like it's like bureaucracy.
Who's on first?
Yeah, exactly. "No, sir. No, sir? Are you calling me a goddamn liar? Oh, no, sir. Then you're a windy son of a bitch, aren't you? No, sir. Are you trying to pick a fight with me? No, sir. Are you a windy son of a bitch? No, sir. God damn it, you are trying to pick a fight with me. For 2 stinking cents, I jump over this big fat table and rip your stinking cowardly body apart, limb from limb. Do it, cried Major Metcalf. Metcalf, you stinking son of a bitch. Didn't I tell you to keep your stinking, cowardly, stupid mouth shut? Yes, sir, I'm sorry, sir. And suppose you do it. I was only trying to learn, sir. The only way a person can learn is by trying.
We talked about that
I
too.
just love this. This is good. Who says so? Everybody says so. Even Lieutenant Skyskopf says so. Do you say so? Yes, sir, said Lieutenant Skyskopf. Like, that shit's so good. Even the other one. What kind of a name is Usarian anyway? Lieutenant Skyskopf said, it's Usarian's name, sir. Thank you. Like, so good. Ugh. They even do a thing where he's like, read me back the minutes and tell me what he said. And it's like, read me back the minutes and tell me what he said. No, his words, not mine. Like, it's fucking good.
It's kind of trite though. But for
it's very trite.
Yeah. For 1961.
All right, I'm gonna leave you with my favorite quote from the whole book because it's the next page.
Okay.
Dan hates this because it's quotes and I'm quoting a book, but I don't give a damn. It's my favorite book. I don't care if he hates it.
I'll just finish my beer in silence.
You finish your beer in silence. Justice? The Colonel astounded. What is justice? Justice, sir. And he's immediately cut off. That's not what justice is, the Colonel jeered. And he began pounding the table again with his big fat hand. That's what Karl Marx is. I'll tell you what justice is. Justice is a knee in the gut, from the floor on the chin, at night sneaky, with a knife brought down on the magazine of a battleship, sandbagged, underhanded in the dark, without a word of warning. Garroting. That's what justice is, when we've all got to be tough enough and rough enough to fight Billy Petrel. From the hip. Get it? No, sir. Don't sir me. Yes, sir. And say sir when you don't. It's so good. My favorite line in the whole damn book. Catch 22, guys. It's more information than you can get with less information than you need.
We do like you.
Oh, damn. We like you, folks. We like you a lot. Skycough means shithead.
Good night.